Hey guys, welcome to BP, the Bible Perspective. Let's talk about bad black people message, but with no gospel. Now, before we get into it, please like and share this video and subscribe to BP, the Bible Perspective. And as always, if you have a thought, a comment, add it to the comment section below. All comments are welcome. I want to explore this growing anti-blackness segment from Christians. So there's going to be some more. And what it is that I see primarily black Christians, those who call themselves Christians, taking aim at black people, the black community, the black race. I often wonder why they do that. And at this point, it just conjecture on my part. But one, it gets them views. So the question is, who's their audience? In other words, they're not talking to me as a black man. They're not talking to us as a black community. So who are they talking to? They're talking to usually white people about black people. And that gets views. Okay. Now these are Christians. This is why I'm approaching this, because as Christians, I do naively expect them to be gospel, told to the truth. Oftentimes that's not the case. Now I want to explore, his name is, I'm going to go by Brother Gerald, because I think that's the name. And I just came across his video in which he is going to talk about the black community, what's going on in the black community. He's going to feature what I assume is a young Christian woman, young Christian woman, who again takes aim at the black community. Now, before I play the video and unpack the video, react to the video, let me just say this. While the arguments may be good, what I want to point out what is most lacking in this whole presentation, the lack of the gospel. So let's get into his video and then unpack it as we go.
What's up, y'all? Gerald here, creator of Gospel Chops and your host for this YouTube channel, back with another video. Now, if you followed this channel for some time, you've seen me talk about the industry ad nauseum. Y'all might be tired of it, but I'm telling you, if you stick around here, you're going to hear me beat this like a drum in a drum shed.
Well, when he says the industry, let's assume he's talking about the gospel, not the gospel, but the music industry. Okay, so let's keep this in mind. And then, so watch what he then takes aim at. Okay, now as a Christian, how do we change the world? See, the world is evil. The world is sinful. In other words, you're never going to change the industry. You're never going to change the fact that people are making money. And then there are sinful people doing sinful things. So that's why I want to say, what's the point of this rant? And why is it only targeting one specific group when you have an entire sinful world that's leading people to hell? All right.
Until we get it as a community, as a culture. And you've seen me over time.
Now he says until we get it as a community, as a culture. So again, who are you talking to? I'm going to come back to that, but I just want to kind of throw that in. Who is he talking to? Till we get it. Till we get what? Okay.
Going from dealing with 20-somethings to dealing with teenagers to dealing with 10-year-olds, adolescents. Why? Because I'm trying to reach the youth at a point before they get corrupted.
So right there, before they get corrupted, What do you mean by getting corrupted? So what is your measurement? What is your gauge of measurement here? In other words, when you say before they get, you're trying to reach them. So now, let me ask the question. How are you trying to effectively reach them? What is the end goal here? When you say, I'm trying to reach them, how are you trying to reach them? What do you think the effect of your reaching out is going to accomplish?
by this industry. And it seems like an insurmountable task because the younger you go, you find the same results. How can
Let me back up and say something right here. He says, it seems like it is an insurmountable task. Of course it is. Why? Because the whole world lies in wickedness. So your jumping off point is what's wrong here, because you're at best doing band-aid cures and not cures itself.
it be that an 8-year-old has the same mental deficiencies as a 15-year-old? How can it be that a 5-year-old is asking to listen to Pound Town?
Now, I actually, until I saw this video, I did not know um, who Pound Town or what Pound Town was. Now I have grandchildren, so I asked people, what is Pound Town? So I can understand what he means by Pound Town and the artist, but I'm going to say that they're not the problem. Okay, let's continue. They're not the problem.
And Cardi B and all manner of foolishness. Look, y'all, I can only go so low. I can't try to reach the children in the womb.
He's kind of lost me on there about reaching the children in the womb, because he's not saying the right thing. In other words, how in the heck are you trying to reach them? We haven't, so far, we don't know your method. What exactly would you do if you could reach them? In other words, what is your method? What is your prescription to saving them children who is listening to Pound Town? I hope I got that right. Okay.
Well, what they're getting at home is so damaging, it's so detrimental to their mental health, to their social growth. It's sad. And this woman here in this viral video is telling her story. Someone else who's doing the work in the community. Y'all, we out here. This woman is trying to teach ballet to young girls in the hood, I assume. She's trying to put a positive mentality, trying to plant some seeds in their mind that will grow as they become older. But she's frustrated with the situation because she's seeing the damage that these parents are doing to these kids at such a young age. It's frustrating. It's
So let's kind of examine that. He mentions what is going on in the home. So right there tells you then, if you're diagnosing that, then what is the solution? Now, he said, here's a girl, and he's getting ready to play her testimony. She's trying to teach ballet. They want to listen to Pound Town. So, for those of you who were like me, really up until coming across this video, did not have a clue as to what Pound Town was. It is a young black artist that does explicit lyrics. Okay, so and so that and they're extremely explicit. But so if kids are listening to Pound Town, okay, and then you're saying it's in the home, okay, so again, what is your solution? You're not giving a solution.
heartbreaking, it's depressing. Sometimes it makes you want to give up. As she expresses here, let's get into this video and I'll give you my analysis on the backside. Check it out, y'all.
So before he plays the video, let me just say this. So what has him fired up? Now, to be clear, I certainly agree that children should not be listening to Pound Town. What I'm objecting to is singling out a group of people, black people. And I'll wait until because I'm gonna do some commenting on her comments as well. See, so before he plays it, so I'm gonna ask some questions about him. It seems to me you are kind of labeling all black people the same. In other words, you're saying black people. And no other group of people is labeled like that as he's talking. So, for example, are the kids in your neighborhood this way? In other words, are kids on all levels of the black community corrupted by Pound Town and corrupted by all of the things you are saying here that you're spelling out? By the way, offering no change, offering no solution, a spiritual solution. And part of the problem is you have people and the black community, I'm going to say singular, is singled out this way. Well, and maybe a separate exception is when Donald Trump singled out Mexicans, right, and said they're rapists, they're drug dealers, the gangbangers. Mexico was sending these immigrants over. Those are the immigrants that he's singing over. Okay. But when we talk about the black community is certainly not monolithic. So you have every level, every social level, just like every other group of people. And he doesn't, by the way, doesn't mention white people, doesn't mention Asian. And of course, if he's going to mention Asians or the certain problems in the Asians, he will single it out and say these are a group, not all Asians, right? But when it comes to black people, it's always black people. So the picture here is, this is the picture of black people when it is a segment of black people. It's a segment of black people. So here we go.
Pre-K to elementary school to high school, I'm calling you out. The children today, I have never experienced, and I'm 22. Having to teach and work with you guys as children has been the most traumatic experience of my life. I teach 5-year-olds ballet. 5-year-old girls ballet. I have a class of 10 students. They don't respect any authority. You ask them, can you stand in your designated spot? They're telling you no and shut up. They're throwing things at each other. They're throwing things at other people, other classmates. You say, can everybody sit in their spot? I don't want to. I'm not doing that. You don't get to tell me what to do. You're not my mom. You confront the parent. The parent tries to argue with you and fuss at you because you tried to reprimand and redirect their kid. I told a young little girl, please sit in your spot. You're not my mom. You don't tell me what to do. Okay. When her mom came to pick her up, I said, hey, your daughter's having a hard time following instructions. And 7 times today, I've had to redirect her to just sit in her spot. Well, clearly she didn't want to sit. And mind you, this is a mom. Clearly she didn't want to sit right there. So, I mean, if she's telling you she don't want to do something, why keep asking her to do it? You know she's not going to do it. What world do we live in? Like, what in you guys' brain as a parent says, my kid not following any directions is a great thing. It's not that serious, and y'all don't have a right to tell her what to do. It's sad.
Okay, what world are you living in? That is a good question, but I'm going to ask that to you. What world do you think you're living in? So let's kind of understand what she's talking about. She's probably talking about a very singular neighborhood, low income neighborhood, low educated neighborhood, which all ethnicities have them. So I don't know where they're from. I don't know where she's from. But I'm going to just, for example, use the Chicago area because I'm very familiar with the Chicago area. And the problems that she is expressing, and I get it, but this happens all over in schools all over. So there's several problems that's going on with these kinds of schools. One, you got administrators. See, when that kind of behavior that is allowed in classrooms, it's because she doesn't have support from administrators. So that's the first thing. And at this point, from her perspective in school, it's not even a home problem. It's not even a kid's problem. It's an administration problem. The reason why schools in poor incomes are underperforming is because they are allowed to. Plain and simple. Now, in the Chicago area, see, when we talk about the inner city schools, they're not talking about, and I'm using the Chicago area because, again, these problems exist all over. It doesn't matter, they exist all over. So they're not talking about that, or I'll say this, on the northwest side of Chicago, she doesn't have that problem. She wouldn't be expressing that. They don't have those kinds of problems in the schools. On the southwest side of Chicago, see, on the far north side of Chicago. So where do they have these problems at? In lower income areas. And then these administrators allow this activity, this behavior to persist. So that's the first thing. See, in other words, if a school cracks down and says, okay, if your child acts up, we've seen even more horrible videos where kids are attacking teachers. Okay, so what is the discipline for a child that jumps on a teacher? Well, nothing, right? Nothing. Instead of, okay, you're going to get expelled. You're not going to be allowed to be here. See, most kids want to be in the school. Most kids would appreciate the schools. And certainly they can be taught how to behave. You know why? Because those same unruly kids, when they go to jail, they are going to behave. They behave in jail. There's a certain behavior that's tolerated in jail. But there's certain behaviors we're not going to act that way. And when the guards tell them to walk in the straight line, they walk in the straight line. Criminals, right? The point is, behavior can be tamed. So the point is that when she says, well, okay, these parents are out of touch, well, of course they're out of touch. What I'm going to say more so is that you're the one that's out of touch because you're not recognizing who you're dealing with. I expect that from those parents in those neighborhoods. And my point is that she could easily take her talent and go to other school district, suburban school district, okay, and teach her ballet. Now she may say, well, I want to reach those kids. Well, as Maya Angelou saying, you're not believing them the first time then. Because there's some people you cannot reach. And if you want to say in your class of 10, okay, get rid of the bad apples. That's all. But that's me. Let's continue.
It's sad. It's really, really sad. And another thing that's heart-wrenching is horrifying. It is horrifying. Your 5-year-old daughters are asking to listen to Pound Town and Ski Yee. Your 5-year-old daughters are asking, can we hear Pound Town? I'm playing them Princess Tiana ballet music.
Well, who said they want to listen to ballet music? Why don't you ask them what they want to listen to? You like ballet, but they may not like that style of music. In other words, ballet is not the only way to reach them. Maybe there's other forms of rap music you could use to reach them. And so because they don't want to listen to ballet, so the point is that if they are listening to Pound Town, because that's what they're exposed to. By the way, let me just say something. White kids are listening to Pound Town as well. She's not making millions only off black people. Okay.
And they are asking me, can we hear Pound? I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do.
You can't do anything. Like I said, if you want to make an impact, go somewhere else. Go somewhere where your talents are going to be appreciated. Look, there are people that will never change. There are people in project housing that will never change. There are people on welfare that will never change. Why waste your tears on them? They're never going to change. And guess what? Those who do change, because they do take care of opportunities that already exist for them to get ahead in life.
And I'm so scared for these little girls today because this is the most insane agenda push I have ever seen in my life. We do freeze dance. You guys' daughters are twerking at 5. 5. Where's the parenting? Where's the boundaries? Where's the help? Y'all are
Well, let me just say something here.
not helping.
Let me just say something. Where's the parenting? Where's the parenting with spring break? So let's just these 5-year-olds. By the way, the white kids that listen to 5-year-olds. Okay, let's fast forward to spring break. Where's the parenting in spring break? Where's the parenting? You know, one of the most heartbreaking things that was ever seen back in the opioid crisis. Notice what they called it, crisis. When in 1 year long, 60,000 people overdosed on opiate. When they found 2 grandparents sitting in the car overdosed with the grandkids sitting in the back. That's sad. In other words, life is sad. But let me go on because I want to get to what they're not talking about here. In other words, life is sad. Life is sinful. Life is wicked.
Your kids, you're hurting them. You guys are hurting them. I come every day dressed, ready to go, and I'm in school too. I'm in college. I mean, I put bows in my hair. I'm wearing leotards. I'm trying to get them interested in like proper things for their age, and you guys are exposing your kids to this raunchy secular music.
Well, first of all, that's again, you're coming. Well, then why don't you then? Okay, let's put the ballet aside and then teach them proper stuff. Let's start with the basics. How about that? Start with the basics. If you're not teaching them ballet up here, then start down here where they need to learn. And agreed, there's a lot of kids that are exposed to raunchiness. They're exposed to ignorant parents, okay? So if they come in your environment, you can teach them, give them values. How about exposing them to say, life is better outside of the ghetto? Do you know that a lot of people outside of the ghetto never have any aspirations of traveling more than 1 square mile out of their ghetto neighborhood? But there are people who do go out and they see, hey, wait a minute, look at these people, look at these neighborhoods, look at these nice homes, look at these nice jobs. So maybe readjust and say, well, let's start with the basics. That's just like, it'd be like you crying over the fact that they cannot read. Well, back up and then let's start at the basics and start teach basic grammar. Maybe you have to teach them the ABCs if that's where you need to start. But you're expecting them to be on the same level and have the same values that you were taught and given, they didn't start off with life that way.
Why is you guys' 5-year-old's daughter singing Pound Town?
And there you have it, y'all. The story of a 22-year-old college student who's teaching ballet to young girls, trying to give them a positive image, something to look at other than these half-naked rappers that they see on TV all day, every day. And it's not working. It seems like the media onslaught is insurmountable. She's voicing her frustration. We all face it, sis. I'm just as frustrated as you. Because just like you face it in your arena, I face it in mine. And we're all trying to do a positive work out here and change the mentality of the culture. But man, when you got billion.
First of all, again, you're not looking at life. Excuse me, you're not looking at life adequately. Pound Town is going to always exist because she's making somebody money. Okay, and I think he's getting ready to say that because, again, you're never going to change the culture. Now, people are making too much money. All right.
In mind, and we're all trying to do a positive work out here and change the mentality of the culture. But man, when you got billion-dollar media conglomerates that are pushing this agenda, I'm glad she noted that it's an agenda push. That's what it is, sis. And we out here fighting against it, and we can only, as individuals, do so much. I hope that at some point we can find a mechanism to unite our strengths, our forces.
Really? That's what you hope for? I'm going to come back to that. But really? That you scratching your head over that? That's the problem, what you just said. I will elaborate in a moment.
We're all out here as individuals fighting the good fight.
Well, what good fight are you fighting? You're fighting, but what good fight are you fighting?
But at some point, we're going to have to get our strength up because it seems like this media onslaught is winning, especially when you have 5-year-old girls talking about, can I hear Pound Town? What do you know about Pound Town? You 5 years old. You in kindergarten. That's the evidence that this starts at home. And if we're going to change the culture, y'all, we're going to have to change the home. It's not going to be easy. It hasn't been easy up to this point. But if we're going to make a difference, that difference starts with us. Let me know what you think about this video. I'm curious because we're out here fighting it. We're trying to do the right thing. And I thought that if I approach the youth at a younger age, I can reach them before they were corrupted by this culture. But the lower you get, you find the same mentality. And it's amazing that this mentality can be implanted in these children's minds at such a young age. The devil is in the midst, y'all. Let me know what you think.
Okay, so let me, the problem with his whole approach here, he mentions the devil, but preaches no gospel. He preaches no gospel. That's his problem here. You cannot reach a society, a world, without preaching the gospel. And he talks about strength. I don't know what the heck. Let me just show you this one verse here. Look at this. In Ephesians 6, he knows this verse, and it says, finally, be strengthened by the Lord and by his vast strength. Put on the full armor of God so that you can stand against the tactics of the devil. For our battle is not against flesh and blood, but against rulers, against authorities, against world powers of this darkness, against spiritual forces in the heavenlies. So one of its problems here is not coming from a gospel perspective, but a cultural perspective. That's why you're failing, and that's why you're frustrated, because you are not approaching this the way the Bible tells you to approach. So first and foremost, before you go out in the world, you should be arming yourself with God's armor. But secondly, you're not preaching God's message. You're not preaching his word. That's what changed people. You want to reach the culture before Pound Town corrupts them. You're deluded, because remember, they come out of the womb sinners. They come out of the womb with sinful natures. So your approach is corrupted because you're coming from a worldly standpoint and not a godly standpoint. That's the problem with your approach here. By and then uh, singling out a single neighborhood. I won't get too far into that, but here's my point. Where you're failing the most is by not preaching the gospel, presenting the gospel to these people, to those young people, to those parents. That's what changed people. You should know this as a Christian. All right, guys, that is my perspective. Don't forget to like and share this video and subscribe to BP the Bible Perspective. And as always, if you have a thought or comment, add it to the comment section below. All comments are welcome, and I'll see you in the next video.